Time now for this week's Health Matters. Paul Critz with you, along with physician assistant Lynn Szabo. And what are you bringing to the table this week, Lynn?
It's kind of a rerun on Ozempic.
Ozempic,
Yeah, kind of evolving clarity on it. I
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how we have to evolve the clarity after it's already released for widespread use.
Yeah, well, it's a little terrifying, isn't it?
So now before we get into it, now there are other products too, other drugs that are
Right.
doing this same sort of thing now. Why is it that we make a big deal about Ozempic? Is it just because it was
Because
first?
it's the only name we can pronounce, really.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And then
okay.
they all have. I'll address that.
Okay.
In a minute, but yeah, they're all. Maybe the best advertising. Maybe it was because they were first.
Okay,
I don't know.
all right.
They've been around longer, so.
And we all know people. You know people, I imagine. Well, of course you know people.
I know lots of people.
You know
I
lots of
prescribe it.
people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Reluctantly, I'll say. So.
Oh, all right.
So the generic name is semaglutide, okay, and it's a glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonist. And so there's a whole category of drugs. This is the most widely known drug in the category. It's probably the most pronounceable. The names are insane. There's two names for every drug. There's a generic name and a brand name.
Uh-huh.
So I'll be using brand names mostly, and also be using Ozempic as the flagship name for this whole category of drugs.
Okay.
So what you might get from your physician might be called something else, but here's the basic idea. I have a bunch of names here, and I don't even want to try and pronounce them.
Oh, I will.
They're insane.
Exanatide,
Yeah.
liraglutide,
You're so good.
albaglutide,
Et cetera.
it's etc. Okay.
Et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ozempic's the most fun to say. It sounds like a Flash Gordon bad guy or something.
This is kind of interesting side point is in medicine, we are taught in school to always use the generic names to avoid the appearance of having, a favorite brand.
Sure, right? Unconscious product placement, yeah.
Yeah, product placement.
So why do they do the two names? I mean, that may be a simple question to answer. I'm not understanding. I mean, you've got one thing, two names. One obviously is a brand that money's going to be made
So one
from.
is medicine, one is advertising.
But they refer to the exact same drug.
I think it was initially
Okay.
that it was easier to say the brand name.
Is that what they just came up with, easier things?
Yeah.
Because I've seen things where brand names and the generic fancy little easily memorizable name are just as stupid sounding to me. So I don't,
Yeah, they're unpronounceable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's maybe that's how you know you're talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about, and then you get it pronounced right.
It's the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was just capitalism or if there was something deeper structurally
No, I think it's
into
capitalism.
Okay,
All of medicine is capitalism. So here's what Ozempic does. I thought this was interesting. I learned this morning. So it increases the amount of insulin in your body. Insulin is the hormone it's like the key that opens the door for glucose to go from the bloodstream to inside the cell.
Gotcha.
Where it can work.
Okay.
And over time, people with type 2 diabetes, their key the lock is a little funky, the key doesn't work as well. You know how you got to jiggle it just right?
Yeah.
And so that's what happens with insulin. And it really just doesn't work as well. Mm-hmm. So one of the things this does for type 2 diabetics is it increases the amount of insulin in your body or in your bloodstream so that the blood sugar levels are more effective just because there's more troops to do it, right? And getting the glucose from the bloodstream to inside the cell.
So getting the glucose inside the cell, that is what drives your hunger. Well, I guess the levels in the...
Right. So that's why diabetics crave sugar, especially when they're out of control, because their brain is not getting the sugar on the inside of the cell.
Right.
The brain's kind of the piggy of the glucose. I mean, it wants all of it.
Yeah.
And so all those people with blood sugars of about, 600 or 300 and up, their brain is screaming at them to eat more sugar. And so if you see them in the ER, they're sucking down Mountain Dew and eating, ding-dongs.
But is it that sugar's just going through them then
Yeah,
and not being
it's
absorbed?
just piling up in this big traffic jam in their blood vessels.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it also Ozempic also and Ozempic like drugs also slows the movement of food through your stomach, and it tapers down the amount of sugar that can be absorbed. So a lot of food doesn't pass through your stomach as quickly as it would normally, and then because of this amount of time that it's sitting there, it's just like the sugar isn't being, or the carbohydrates aren't being taken out of it quickly. Okay. And then it also dramatically helps to lower your weight because it makes people feel full because they still got food in their stomach.
Right. And their muscles aren't craving the sugar too, right? Because that's part of the underlying feeling of hunger and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's kind of thought to be a weight loss miracle. But I have super reservations.
Is it a diabetes miracle too? I mean, a weight loss miracle, hooray. Is that how it's affecting the diabetic or?
Yeah, that's part of the way it is. But part of it is that it's just a slower way to get sugar from the stomach, from the food that's eaten into, through the blood system and then into the cells where it's needed. It just slows that whole process down. So you kind of don't get a traffic jam.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So people like want this drug. I have maybe 20 or 30 people on it, and people come in every day wanting this drug. And what's really scary is their other primary care providers are referring people to me for this drug. The medical community has a lot of skepticism about it.
Why?
Because it's there has never been a weight loss drug that has not ultimately done harm to people.
So the fear is that this is just another diet pill?
Right.
Right. Okay.
And then people's experience really is they feel like they don't have to do the exercise and quality
it's a
eating.
Magic diet pill.
It's going to be magic.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And in their mind, when they're talking to me, they're like, oh, I'll get to that. I just need a jump start.
Right. Yeah.
I want some encouragement. And I understand that.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. But people are like, I'll say, well, how much exercise do you do a week? And they say, I'm really busy at work. That's almost 100%. I'm like, no, this doesn't count.
I'm busy too.
Yeah. Or what'd you have for lunch?
Yeah.
McDonald's. Well, that isn't typical, but I've been there 4 times this week.
Right.
Yeah. So I really want to stress that there is no weight loss drug that has not ended up hurting people. And this is not sustainable. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, when this came out, this drug was seen as something that people had to do for their entire life.
Right. That's my next question. Is that not how it's seen?
That is how providers see it.
Okay.
To maintain the benefit. But the patients, they must get marketed to, or maybe it's talking among themselves. Now, there are certain that if they could just have it for 3 months... then they would have this whole thing under control.
So is the hope being that, okay, 3 months, I lose the weight. In that time, I've refashioned my lifestyle, and I'm now my magic perfect weight, and I'm eating, whatever.
I'm somehow going to be inspired to really work out at the gym, really do that. Not even more than 150. But if you're too busy at work to do it now, how are you going to do it in 3 months? That's not going to work.
Is that how Ozempic is meant to be used, or are they completely off base by that? Is it something you have to stay on?
I think it's marketed by people of other motives, like money making, to just jump on this for a short period of time. And I think it's out there in the patient sphere,
sure,
not in the medical sphere.
So I'm just looking for clarification here. Is it intended once you are on Ozempic that you are on Ozempic for the rest of your life?
If you want to maintain the weight loss.
Wow. Okay.
Because when you go off of it, and insurance companies don't want to pay for it for the rest of your life.
Right. I remember seeing
that might be part of this actually, and they'll say, okay, we'll give it to you for 3 months, but then you're going to gain the weight back. And in my experience, people gain more weight back.
Sure. Now, is that a given, a fait accompli that you gain the weight back? Is it possible for somebody to go, I'm going to do this for 3 months and reform my lifestyle, and they in fact reform that lifestyle and can come out the other side? And
I think in the history of the world that's probably happened, but it's extremely hard.
But there's no medical reason with this drug that couldn't happen, but it goes against the grain with human nature. I get that. Sure. Okay.
So, and remember, successful weight loss, everybody wants to lose 70 pounds, right? But successful weight loss is defined as 4 to 5% after off baseline after 5 months. That actually should be a 3.
What should be a 3?
Where it says 5.
Oh, 3 months. So 90 days if you've held off, if you've lost and kept off 4 to 5%. Okay.
So a 200-pound person.
That's 25, 30 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4%.
4%, yeah. 4 times 5
is 20.
Huh?
10% is 20, so 4% is less than 20.
Oh, right. 10%. Okay, no. I don't know why I was making it a 500-pound person.
That was the new math.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so 4 to 5% is, some people have that in mind because they just want to fit in their wedding dress or something, and that's what they need. But most people want to be thin.
So you're talking okay, so for a 200-pound person, you're talking about a 4 to 5%. That's 10%. That's 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
That's not a lot. And it doesn't work well for everybody. I've seen a lot of people really benefit from it, and I've seen people where like nothing happens
with Ozempic.
Yeah.
Wow. When nothing happens, really?
Yeah. Really.
Wow. Okay.
Really, they don't really.
Do we know why?
I think
just other causes to whatever's happening.
Well, I
with
think
them?
diet and exercise, how much is going on, probably means something.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you're not hungry, you can still eat jelly donuts. You know what I'm saying? So.
No,
I think some people who are in a kind of a, if they're really trying hard and they're doing, let's say, 400 minutes of exercise and they really are in a calorie deficit with what they're eating. Let's see, they go all Mediterranean or something, and they really decrease their portions. It's not a comfortable procedure to lose weight. It really isn't.
Not at first, yeah.
Yeah. So people need to realize that it doesn't work well for everybody and it's not safe for everybody. So specifically, people with a family history of medullary thyroid cancer probably shouldn't use it because thyroid cancer is a risk in this.
Really? Okay.
It's a very rare risk. Haven't seen it. Don't have enough people on to know for sure, but they do know that it happens. And there's there also, you get to a point where it's done all it can for you. And I have seen that where people lose like 25 or 30 pounds and they're thrilled, and then all of a sudden they're plateaued.
Yeah.
And that's weight loss in general, where you do something that works really well for a while and then it stops working. And at that point, you either need to change what you're doing or you need to add something new.
I've never understood that myself. I mean, I don't mean to there's so many things I could start with, topics I could discuss and start with that statement. I've never understood that myself.
Right.
The plateauing goes with like the nature of diet,
right?
You change things and you're changing things. So like, okay, so I lost a lot of weight, didn't use Ozempic or anything like that, but I did just calorie count. Right. And so as you get closer to your goal calorie or weight based on that lower calorie count that you're steadfastly holding to, you're going to slow down. That's how the nature of things coming together works. And you're going to stop unless you start eating less to get through that. So plateaus just seem like that's just built into the nature of metabolizing
because
food.
Evolutionary, what it sounds like to your body
is
when that
dying.
is happening is, wow, this famine's going on longer than usual. I gotta find the workaround and to keep weight on this person because evolutionarily that would be of more benefit than having somebody who's thinner.
It's more than just that. It's that, but it's more than just that too. It's that if you're like, I was shooting for a weight based upon a specific number of calories, right? As I ate that number of calories and came to that weight, the like, if I started out 20 pounds over that point and I'm just eating the lower calorie count, then initially, you're going to lose a whole bunch.
Right.
But as you get closer to your goal, then your calories that you're consuming are closer to what you actually need. That's going to slow down. That's a plateau.
It totally slows down. And your brain also gets the message like, well, this is bad. Can I sneak something in?
Right, I got to get some in.
Maybe not exercise as much because
I'm conserving energy, right?
Yeah. Evolutionarily, this is a bad thing.
Oh, man.
Side effects. Excuse me. Minimal constipation. These are minimal side effects. So constipation, diarrhea, nausea, abdominal pain, and vomiting. I have seen abdominal pain and nausea be what I hear about. But there's some serious ones like pancreatitis.
That's no fun.
That's not fun. Thyroid cancer, diabetic retinopathy.
What's that?
So what that means, the retina is the part of our eye that we actually see. That's where vision turns into neurologic signals and gets transferred to the brain. That's where the cones and the rods are. Okay. And diabetics, the excess sugar in their bloodstream hurts delicate tissues at the end of the line of systems.
Really?
And so that's why people get pain in their feet.
Okay. All right.
Because it hurts the nerves at the end of the line there. And that's why they die oftentimes of kidney failure, because it hurts those little kidney tubules that are at the end of the line.
That's the whole deal with the kidney is that it tapers down to,
Right.
Exactly.
That's why people have heart attacks, because it hurts the arteries that feed the cardiac muscle. And it also hurts the eyes, those delicate little structures where the actual vision thing starts. So diabetic retinopathy, and they've had some stuff in the lay press about people suddenly going blind. And I think that's what they're referring to.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's a different mechanism. But people lose a lot of weight get gallstones, and you can be allergic to the meds. And then my favorite pathology, because it was in Harry Potter, a bezoar.
Right. So in the real world, what's a bezoar again?
So a bezoar is a clump of, or like a little ball of, it's not always little, undigestible material that sits in the stomach and it's too big or too stuck there to go up and be vomited, and it's too big to pass through into the
God,
proximal small intestine. So I have actually seen a bezoar in somebody in my clinical practice, and it was an elderly lady who really liked Chinese food, but she couldn't digest it. And the doctor who figured it out was like hella proud of himself.
Yeah, that's
what? A bezoar? That's in Harry Potter,
a Chinese food bezoar.
Yeah,
oh
so
my
they
God.
had to do an endoscopy, go down there, break it up, and it was it was like all the little pieces of bean sprouts and celery, all the fibrous tissue,
all the cellulose and things.
Yeah, like in a big just tangle of stuff.
Did that make any kind of like medical like journal? That was
No, it's not.
Is there a journal that's just like freaky medical stories?
Yes.
Really?
And there's museums.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I've been to a couple.
What's the journal?
I don't know the title.
I've got okay. I've got to find that out. That's interesting.
So if you were, but you could argue, I can hear people out there saying, but being overweight is a worse risk to your health than this.
Well, I mean,
Probably
maybe
true.
at some point.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why this is a prescription med, and you can't just get it at, the drugstore.
Right. You have to have consultation.
Yeah, you have to get some medical input here. So if you want to use these drugs, there is something that you have to do first. So, and this is where patients cannot hear me.
What? You're asking? Okay, yeah.
So 3 months of healthy eating and exercise that results in a calorie deficit. So
basically start your diet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Clean living.
Yeah.
To try and be right with your health. So, and that really has to happen. And the other thing is, I didn't put it in here, but to improve the status of your comorbidities.
Okay, before we get, yeah. I'm sorry. Why is it you just jump starting the whole process? Is that why you need to do the 3 months first, or is it to show that you're worthy? I don't think it's a jump start.
I think it's a commitment to the way your life is going to be.
Okay.
That's no jump start. That's the rest of your life. Okay.
Well, yeah, but you can start the rest of your life with the jump start. I just didn't know why you had to.
No, I think you have to do that first for 3 months. This is people don't want to hear that. And then weirdly, keeping your comorbidities in line, like your type 2 diabetes, your prediabetes, your heart disease, you have to start on this journey in a healthy place. So be working with your physician. It does help a little bit to have those comorbidities because this is an expensive drug.
Oh, no.
And insurance companies don't want to pay for it. And my reluctance to prescribe it is just trying to be part of informed consent.
Mm-hmm.
Their reluctance to pay for it is full stop.
Yeah, right.
It's not happening. And there's no way I can call the insurance company or call the pharmacy and make it happen. We have a dedicated person at UHS who goes through trying to get insurance companies to cover these meds.
Mm-hmm.
And they will not cover it even when the indication is clear. This is what really is difficult. Some people shouldn't really be on this drug, and for some reason they have that kind of insurance that pays for it. And some people desperately need this drug, and their insurance company is like, no way.
Is it special with Ozempic in that regard, or isn't that every interaction
Well, I'm
between
seeing it right
capitalism
now
and
with
drugs?
Ozempic, but it's been all through my career. That argument is ongoing.
How much?
If you call your insurance company and you if you call them and you say, how do I get you guys to cover it? They'll say, have your doctor talk to our doctor. That's not going to work. It never works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a strategy that's really available. And
Why not? Why doesn't that work?
Because they never answer the phone,
Okay.
number one. I mean, there's no there. And you're not necessarily arguing with a doctor. In one case, for a different drug, different situation, I was arguing with a pharmacy grad student who had no clinical medical experience in taking care of the problem that I was managing.
Wow.
So they put these like ridiculous barriers to care in front of it.
Huh.
But it does help to have comorbidities
Sure.
and not just be obesity. And if you have obesity, weirdly, it's better to have a higher body mass index than a more normal, like just overweight.
Well,
it's
yeah, you've
really
got to
better to be obese.
You've got to change the monetary equation for the insurance company to say that, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how much does a Ozempic cost currently?
Let me see if I can find that out really quickly.
Oh, sorry.
Manufacturing and pricing, I'm going into my medical library here.
Okay.
$878 for what looks like a month.
Wow.
And for some reason, no matter what strength, it's all $878.
Sure.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, wow, that's so they just do the math and they figure, okay, well, if you are X amount of pounds overweight or have a BMI of whatever
and
number,
a comorbidity,
then that equates to a greater liability for us than the $800 a month it would take to get you out of this situation.
And my guess is that if you tried to pay for it yourself, it would be like closer to $2,000, and they probably have agreements with different insurance companies. The pharmacies do, and different pharmacies, they have their own side deals.
So you've got different prices just depending on which insurance you walk in the door at the
Yeah.
pharmacy with?
Yeah, totally. Like how much they're going to sell, like pharmacy's going to sell, makes the drug cheaper at that pharmacy.
How is that not a concern for the old-fashioned bunco squad, man? How is that? Didn't we pass a whole bunch of laws in the late 19th century to break up monopolies and things like this and fraud like this?
I think they're too busy with big oil.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so don't be mad at your doctor.
It's not.
your
The
provider.
last person whose fault it is the doctor.
So, I get disappointed people all week long. So
I know you just told me that. You're not even my doctor. I'm kind of mad at you. No, I'm just kidding. How dare you?
and no, there are other meds besides Ozempic and Ozempic-like drugs that you can, if you really want it to, if you really think that your solution is a medication, which remember, there are no weight loss meds in the history of medicine that have not
Right.
hurt people. As long, I suppose snake oil. But there is phentermine, another drug I don't like, and topiramate, the combination of the two drugs. That's phentermine is Fastin, which was part of fen-phen. I don't know
Okay,
if you
right. I
remember
do remember fen-phen. I was thinking
that caused a lot of heart damage for people. Out of the 40 people I had on it, 2 had heart valve damage from it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
That's
not
statistic.
insignificant.
No,
And every single one of them, as soon as the drug was taken away from them, they all gained weight back.
Right.
Yeah. So phentermine and topiramate. Topiramate is Topamax, which is a mental health drug for bipolar.
Okay.
Can cause really bad kidney stones, but combinations in that are available. Naltrexone, a drug often talked about and apparently has a lot of good uses, and bupropion, which is
Wellbutrin. Yeah.
Wellbutrin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that combination, I've never used that particular combination.
What, naltrexone
Naltrexone and
what's
bupropion
naltrexone again?
Is Narcan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Would that be anything close to Suboxone?
I think there's overlapping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suboxone's a combination drug, and we're talking about combination drugs. So the Venn diagram, I think, overlaps. And orlistat, which I've used for a long time, it used to be used in people with HIV disease to, God, what was it used for? I think it might have been used for a certain kind of intestinal parasite. But orlistat, I've never seen anybody tolerate it.
Really?
Never. It's an awful drug. It gives people like diarrhea. That's embarrassing.
Oh,
like you're
that's
in the
too
middle
bad.
of Safeway and there you go. And I have not seen anybody really benefit from it. Now remember, the criteria is only ability to lose 4 to 5% of weight.
Right.
So that's not very much.
Not at all.
Actually. So drugs to help lose weight are not what people think. They're not your solution. And probably in my experience is I see people not interested in putting in what's hard and uncomfortable and only wanting this to be a solution that a pill will magically solve.
Right. But even though the very first thing you have to do if you want to get Ozempic is to submit to 3 months of the diet.
Right. And how do I prove that? I mean, how does a patient prove that to me in the exam room? Do they have like a little sheet like you, when you go to an AA meeting, you get people to sign a sheet proving that you were there? I mean, like, it seems all very grade school.
Well, it says it needs to result in what? Ketosis, right? Basically?
Not necessarily.
I thought that's what it said, that you have to go into a calorie debt.
You have to go into calorie debt. That's not necessarily ketosis.
Not necessarily,
Ketosis it's gradients.
Okay.
So, but I think you have to. So, how does it affect the average Del Note person? We don't really have nutritionists that can talk to us. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have to get information online, which means you have to have access to that, which means you have to be literate and have some buy-in to that, which a lot of people don't. And you have to exercise. And what happens when the rains start? I mean, how do you think you could really circle Home Depot while it's pouring rain? I mean, a lot of people, that there's no inspiration in that, and people find it very hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is a super helpful tool that we have at Del Norte is the pool.
Yeah, the pool's very
The
big.
pool's golden. And if you are a UIHS patient, it's actually free on Wednesdays from 7 to 8:15.
It's wonderful.
And they have a water aerobics instructor who I hear is quite good. I've actually sweated during water aerobics.
Wow.
I have yet to figure that out.
Yeah.
But and everybody looks the same in a bathing suit once you're in the water. So people, those two concerns I think are without basis, really.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also, if you want to dress more baggy too and exercise through the winter, you can just get yourself a rain suit.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I do. and then that you're just walking in the rain.
I know, it's beautiful.
It's really nice.
It's really
And there's
beautiful. Although my dog looks at me like, why you do this to me?
What, this little dogs, man. I have the
Little
same
dogs,
thing.
the best weight loss aid ever.
No, I don't know, man. If I have to talk my little dog to go out in the rain with me.
Oh no, my dog is like, I have to. We do this at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very like structured in his schedule.
Nice.
But the only time he complained about the rain was once we were walking around the track and it was really pouring.
It was really coming down.
And
Just
he looked at me like, I'm kind of over this. So,
all right. Well, there's the skinny, if you will, on the Ozempic. Lynn, thank you very, very much. And that's it. We're out of time. I guess we'll talk again next week.
we will.
All right.